The Megastructure, a massive dystopian world ruled over by Infinite. They promised a world of utopia. They promised immortality and tireless android servants, Denzels, to build this utopia. Of course, it was all lies, and now a unique Denzel, Cherry, has paid the price. After being horribly brutalized by Infinite when they kidnapped her creator and lover, Dr. Sinji Fallon, Cherry is given a new lease on life thanks to Mechanic Raz. Brought back from the brink of cybernetic death, Cookie Cutter begins in earnest as Cherry sets out to get her girlfriend back and murderize anyone or anything that gets in her way. Rage and love go hand in hand with Subcult Joint's Cookie Cutter, a gory, violent story of love and revenge set to the backdrop of a massive dystopian Metroidvania. Part cyberpunk adventure, part splatterfest, and full-on platformer, Cookie Cutter drops into the stratospheric depths of the Megastructure with enough charm and addictive design to make it stand out in a crowded genre. That said, Cookie Cutter doesn't try to reinvent the basic Metroidvania formula, as there's no need to. It's a template that stands the test of time. Instead, it plunges into the design philosophy with some addictive platforming gameplay, and throws quite a few enemies at you, along with massive environments to explore and plenty of environmental hazards to keep you on your toes. Labyrinthine design coupled with unreachable areas until you gain new skills is the order of the day. Secret rooms hide behind cracked walls. Electricity arcs along the floor, and giant saws line the walls. In short, it's just your average Tuesday for Metroidvania fans. Cookie Cutter does bring its own flavor to the party though, with plenty of irreverent dialogue and a narrative that is easy to grasp, with your next objective always in plain sight. Hidden across the world are plenty of Easter eggs to other famous games, whether in the form of a poster or an item in the background, as Cookie Cutter celebrates the games that came before, and inspired it, while still making excellent use of their mechanics and doing its own thing. Combat is violent, fast and brutal, flowing between a hack-and-slash game and a 2D beat-em-up. Cherry has basic, though weak attacks that can be augmented with power-ups and a variety of other over-the-top secondary weapons, ranging from a Stratocaster guitar to a chainsaw and a motorcycle. The visual flavor of these attacks is complemented by how they work in combat, providing plenty of options to eviscerate anything in your path. To keep things balanced, secondary weapons and Cherry's self-healing abilities are powered by Void, little orbs that you'll gain by beating the snot out of enemies. The combat rhythm involves stringing together combos that mix your standard punches and kicks, special abilities, and those aforementioned secondary weapons. Weapons that aren't just more powerful, but are also capable of interrupting enemy attacks at just the right moment. You can catch enemies in juggles, exploit the environment to your advantage by knocking them into hazards, and perform brutal finisher moves on them, most reminiscent of Doom 2016's Glory Kills, that'll drop more Void and Health Orbs. Now, Cookie Cutter loves to lock you into challenge rooms and throw a wide variety of enemies at you all at once. These start out relatively simple, but quickly become more complicated, and you'll need to make use of moving pillars, jump pads, environmental hazards, and enemies that start chucking varied combos at you. It's not uncommon to get overwhelmed here, and even Cherry's simple backdash and dodge roll are not likely to save you. At this point, you'll come to appreciate Cookie Cutter's most important ability, the parry. Each enemy has their own parry tell, and, if you do execute one, it leaves them staggered and open to a finisher, which also deals splash damage when they're executed, helping you stagger more enemies or give you some valuable breathing room. Learning to parry and mastering is essential if you want to survive your journey through the Megastructure, because while you can self-heal, it's a slow ability and difficult to pull off in combat, even when upgraded. Parrying, thus, becomes essential to survive in most fights, whether against single enemies or mobs. If, like me, you suck at parrying, Cookie Cutter can become very challenging in the later sections. Thankfully, Cherry's arsenal of moves and weapons does help keep you alive if you play smartly, even if it's not as efficient as parrying your way to success. Short of bosses, you can be parried but not staggered. It's worth trying to parry just about every enemy you encounter. Following on from that theme, those finishers. They're satisfyingly cathartic to watch and execute, as Cherry employs some seriously over-the-top moves worthy of a Mortal Kombat game. Most of the gore, including Cherry's violent deaths, happens at such a quick pace though, probably to keep the momentum and adrenaline flowing forward, and it's a bonus that everything is so beautifully animated. Which brings us to Cookie Cutter's hand-drawn visuals and animation. It's safe to say that, this year alone, the quality and visual pizzazz of 2D game art has really gone through the roof, and Cookie Cutter is no exception. It boasts some truly stunning 2D visuals in both backdrop and world design, creating a dystopian future of corroded environments littered with garbage and neon signs. The sense of scale is handled wonderfully through the game's backdrops, whether you're running through a Denzel factory or looking at massive towers disappearing into the distance of a cityscape. Character design and animation benefit from the same level of visual fidelity, from the way Cherry moves to the various enemy attacks and the electricity arcing along walls. Cookie Cutter is gorgeously violent. So wrapping up, Cookie Cutter pairs an interesting story and setting with traditional Metroidvania and platforming, but polishes it to an addictively high standard. Well, I wish there was a little less emphasis on parrying. The smart and flowing combat, coupled with gorgeous hand-drawn visuals, more than makes up for any of the game's shortcomings as you hack, slash, bash and crash your way to the top of the Megastructure. It's easily one of 2023's essential Metroidvanias. If you've got this far, please consider giving the video a like and maybe subscribing to our channel as it helps us grow.